Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Sandy Springs, Georgia, it's time for Sandy Springs Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Lee Kantor here, another episode of Sandy Springs Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. We are broadcasting live from the Greater Perimeter Chamber, advancing Dunwoody and Sandy Springs. So excited to be talking to my guests today. We have Maureen Sullivan and Carr, and they are with Everyday Art. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, I am so excited to learn what you're up to. Tell us about Everyday Art. How you serving folks?
Everyday Art is a nonprofit. We just recently got our nonprofit status, and we're very excited about that. But we just created this charity, and the point is to try to bring art to the everyday person and encourage everyone to dabble in a little bit of art.
Now, is art, when you say everyday person, does that mean the everyday person as artist or everyday person as consumer of art?
Well, I can say probably a little bit of both. The one thing that we offer is an online gallery, and we search for artists that, they're not professional artists, but someone who is just a creative or who loves to dabble in watercolor or even, mixed media. And we love to find these artists and display their work on our website. We have just found so many incredible people who you actually would never know how artistic they are. We have some kids who are great at photography, drawing. We have moms who dabble in just some art. Katie, help me out here. Anything else? It's been awesome.
So if it's possible, we can backtrack just a little bit and tell you kind of how we got started, and that might...
Sure. Okay. So let's get the backstory where the genesis of the idea came about.
Sure. Yep. It just flows organically. So I had a really bad accident last January where I lost my leg, and Maureen and I are best buddies. And she immediately was like, you know what? I want you to have a place where you can always do art.
So you were like an artist?
I am. So in my spare time,
or
no,
just
I did a couple of shows like Dunwoody Art Festival and Sandy Springs, but
it was a passion
project.
Right.
Yep, all day long. And I'm an abstract oil painter, and it was just started as she was like, I have this idea, and it grew into this marvelous nonprofit that we just, received our 501c3, checked that box, and there's 3 different things that we're trying to accomplish. And the first being what Maureen talked about is recruiting the everyday artists, kind of like how I was, not in a gallery, not as public as what some may be, doing shows, but not necessarily having their own website. And we curate this art. And we're trying right now to find artists that do a variety of pieces so we can build our online gallery to have a range of prices.
And this way, too, someone could purchase art and they can put it in their home or in their office, and it has a meaning. And it's something
there's a story behind it.
Exactly. Right. It's a little bit more than Hobby Lobby or Target. Right. And one of my favorite pieces actually is from Amy Hammerlin, and she's actually suffering from brain cancer. And she's turned to painting as a way to cope with her diagnosis. And it's just something, you hang it on your wall and you think, wow,
you're making an impact.
Exactly. So we split the proceeds 50-50 with the artists and the nonprofit. So that's one thing that we're doing.
Is that I don't know how the gallery business works. How does if you were a gallery in a more traditional manner, what is kind of the financial way that they go about doing business?
It's similar. I think the split there is more the gallery would take 60 to 70.
Oh, really?
So we do just a 50-50 split. So that has been really fun. And if, anybody's listening to this and is an artist, please come check out our website and contact us. We'd love to see your work.
Absolutely.
Is there a physical gallery also, or everything is just done online?
Eventually, we would like
someday.
To have.
So that's on the roadmap, is to have a physical gallery at some point?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. The second part of what we're doing is something very unique in the fact that we are dabbling a little in the art therapy type workshop classes. We have a PhD in psychology that we've partnered with and kind of collabed on a couple of classes where it's not preachy, it's not deeply therapeutic, but more mindfulness techniques.
Right.
And we host these classes where I'll teach a class where we use texture for abstract. So using plaster to create something that you can put on a canvas and make it not something that you can pick up at Hobby Lobby, but not your fine art piece.
Right.
And just do different paint colors. And that's been a pretty
It's been
big
a
success.
huge success. Yeah. I have to give a shout out to Morgan Weatherly. She is our therapist, and she's been really fantastic in partnering with us and helping to set up classes. And our last class sold out.
Yep.
And right now we're having classes kind of wherever we can because we don't have a location.
And those are in person?
Yes, they are.
In the community, in and around the community?
Yes. So we go to different places.
So what's an example of a place you've been to?
We were at a local preschool once. They had us come in, and then we have something on the horizon at a school cafeteria. We did something in a business park outside. So that's been exciting.
Right.
We were just talking to another company just this week, Rise, which is a nonprofit. It's a coffee shop where the baristas are adults with special needs.
Right.
And so we're going to be going out there. We hope to do an art class.
Great partnership there. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe
so really anybody.
Maybe classes for the parents with children with Down syndrome, or grab a buddy and have a class with a special friend.
Yeah.
Where we teach the class, we provide all the supplies. They leave with a piece of art that they can hang in their home.
Right.
And Morgan adds just such a nice piece too, just on the meditation and thoughtfulness, of creating something and finishing something and how that feels.
Now, do you mind if we talk a little bit about kind of the nuts and bolts of starting a nonprofit? Because there's a lot of folks out there that want to do something like this, but maybe they're too overwhelmed by it seems too hard or too difficult. Can you share a little bit about, you come up with the idea, hey, we want to do something around art. You decide to go down the nonprofit path instead of a for-profit path, which obviously I'm sure you discussed different ways of doing the thing you wanted to do. So you land on nonprofit. Can you talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts on how to get that out of your head and then into an actual kind of an entity like you've done? Right.
I mean, it was definitely a dream that we kind of couldn't stop talking about for a couple of months. And the 501c3 application, it's extensive.
Right. And you didn't have an existing thing. Like this was all from scratch, right? This is an idea in your head.
Yes.
It doesn't exist except in your minds. And now it exists, obviously.
Yes.
So how do you go from that thought into, the paperwork? Like how do you even begin the process?
Before we did that, we would run this by people in our family and our community, and we were never met with, no, that's a bad idea. So
right. So that helped, right? You got a little momentum, little mental momentum.
No one said don't do it.
That's crazy.
We thought they would. And then I have a law background. I'm a public finance attorney. So actually, I'm pretty used to tax documents.
Okay, so that part didn't scare you.
Didn't. No, I read the 40 pages of instructions and completed it. And we got
Katie, would you have, if you didn't have her, would you, it would have been done, right? It would have been an idea. Oh, that's a great idea. And then it would have gone away.
We really need each other. I work at State Farm the past 18 years as a data engineer. So my background is not at all documents like that. So we are very, very fortunate to.
Right. So from your end, if it would have been you with the idea by yourself, it probably would have kind of died on the vine there, right? It wouldn't have gone beyond that.
Yeah. And the other special thing about it too is that we feed off each other with passion. She's really good at certain parts and I'm really good at the other parts.
Right.
And we kind of figured that, okay, it's really run pretty smoothly. But no, I don't think that either one of us feel like we could have done it without the other.
It definitely is a little better jumping into something like this with someone. I don't think even if I knew how to complete the paperwork, I could have sort of signed off and sent it without knowing, I had someone I wanted to do this with and hold me accountable.
Right. Now, each of you works for other companies. Had either of you done anything entrepreneurial like this where you're starting kind of a business from scratch like this?
I had done a small math tutoring business with my dad about 10 years ago. He bought a franchise, and so I helped him run it. And so that was it.
Was that helpful in that, okay, a franchise kind of has a kind of a business in a box kind of feel to it. So there's steps and there's procedures, and you kind of knew that, and you can kind of maybe borrow some of that into what you're doing now.
Yes, it definitely helped. I knew we needed insurance. I knew we needed licensing.
Right.
And to be honest, you can also Google a lot.
Exactly. But again, having done it, it makes you more confident that, hey, I can pull this off. Other people have done some stuff like this.
Yes. And we're not getting it too complicated. We don't have a space.
Right.
And it's a nonprofit. It's not running a payroll.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. It takes the pressure off of us. The entrepreneurial part is really a passion, and what we see is our dream to be able to do this and give back. So not as much pressure about, our salary and things like that at this point.
So now what is kind of how do you mark milestones? Like, what was the first thing? Okay, we got the entity. So that was check that box. We're legit now.
Our website.
So that was the next big thing was, okay, now we need a website. Look, if we're doing this, we got to do this, right? Yeah. At some point, you're in for a dime, in for a dollar kind of thing. If we're going to do it, let's do it. So now you got to make a website. So had you done that, or you had to now got to find a website partner?
We did. We had an old friend who helped us.
So within the network, again, the community's helping you.
Yes, another mom. There's been a lot of moms out there that have helped us. Morgan is a fellow. Her daughter goes to school with our daughter's fellow mom friend, and then this was my friend from high school, but she does a small website business on the side.
So then you're like, hey, we're doing this thing. Did you ask her, do you know somebody, or did she raise her hand and say, hey, do you need help?
She reached out to us and said, if you need anything, let me know. So, but
it worked out good. She was able to set up the shell for us, and I maintain our website now. I have a bit of a digital background type communication.
Right.
So I'll maintain it now, but it didn't, there's no way on earth I would have ever been able to do what she did.
Right.
So really set us up for success. That was the first big milestone where we were like, oh, this actually looks really
I know. And we should say her name, Elise Black. Call her if you have website concerns.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Right.
Very talented.
So then, so now you have the website, and then how do you go about kind of finding the artist? Did you think that would be difficult or easy? Like, what was because at some point you have to reach out, right, and get some artists in here.
I was in the hospital for a really long time, and Maureen was visiting different art festivals out there during this time.
Scouting.
She was scouting. Has a great eye. So she had a whole slew of business cards when, we were ready to really start talking about this and reaching out to artists. And we really, the pace at what no one said no. Right. So we are...
because from the artist standpoint, it's a kind of a no-lose situation. Right. It's like, hey, I'm just digitally putting my stuff there, and I get 50%. So it's... Yeah. Why not?
Right. We do ask that, we have exclusive right to it for a period of certain period of time. But there's no downside. And when we try to showcase the artists, we'll do a special social media push, just all about them, or we'll try to interview them and publish it on our Instagram. Just to, show the world who this
they
person is.
And what their story is. Now, is a hard part kind of saying no to some artists? Because you're curating, right? That's part of your job as a gallery owner. Or is it like, hey, it's all comers come in and we're going to...
Fortunately, we have not crossed that bridge yet. I'm sure that at some point her and I are going to have to discuss, is it appropriate for our site? Is this along our values?
Is this aligned with our brand?
Yeah, our brand that we're creating. But luckily so far we've been like, yeah, let's do it. We have photographers. We have people that have made crosses, out of oyster shells, and just, I think somebody was making a quilt. So pottery, the sky is the limit for what we're looking at. So
right. So you're casting a wide net. And then are there any kind of rules? Like, do they have to be local? Like, what is kind of the criteria that you're looking at, the lens you're looking at for artists?
It does not have to be local. No. It's a little bit more convenient for getting the art to from a local artist to a local consumer.
Right.
That part is hard because to ship art is expensive. Right.
Which could be more than the art.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So that's kind of tough. But we have some of our artists have figured out ways to, make it work.
Right.
Instead of sending a canvas, they might roll up a sheet of parchment. And that has worked. So we're just dealing with that as it comes.
Yep. And there may be, artists. I'm from Eastern North Carolina. So a lot of our, my community and my friendships are spread out through North Carolina. But within that community, there's a lot of artists. Right. So if we want to showcase some of their art, they can deliver locally in their state and their spot where they're in.
Right. You're just figuring out ways to make it work for everybody.
Ways to make it work. That's the beautiful thing about having an online art gallery. It's not just local.
So now you mentioned the art, you have the kind of therapeutic kind of classes. Is there any other?
Yes, this is our favorite part.
Yes. So we, when I was in rehab for, learning to walk again, I was able to kind of see what it looks like when you use creativity for rehabilitation techniques. So we're very fortunate to take the proceeds that we are earning through the online art gallery, the art workshops, and build really awesome art kits. It's a box. It has a cute sticker on it from us. It's wrapped in tissue paper on the inside with a canvas, some paintbrushes, and some paint. And we are able to partner with different hospitals in the area. We have contacts at CHOA, at Piedmont, at Shepherd Center, Emory. The list goes on. Anywhere you can deliver art kits to patients that could use creativity to help their spirit, help their occupational therapy.
So what are the elements in the kit?
It's a canvas. So they get a small canvas. They get little containers of your primary colors of paint, and they get some paintbrushes. And we have a card that we put in with instructions. So we're working through the context of where we deliver maybe 50 kits to Piedmont, but we deliver them via an occupational therapist or a physical therapist and say, hey, you guys can run with this. It's free of charge. This is our donation to you. Or you could call us in and we'll be happy to run a class and kind of teach some basic art techniques, whichever they prefer. And it's so awesome to be able to do that.
Have you done that? Has that gone out?
Yes, we've delivered it to a few occupational therapists and physical therapists. And then we have some contacts actually that we're working on at Shepherd and Piedmont.
Wow. And I'm very lucky to have my rehabilitation at the Shepherd Center. Anybody who has heard that name knows only great things about it.
Sure.
And, I had a mom tell me one day where her son was diagnosed with cancer at a very young age. And she said, we would have loved to have one of these kids when he's sitting in his room, just to be able to, and that's theirs. That's their thing to do. And everybody likes that feeling of creating something that someone else says that looks really nice, right? It's that intrinsic feeling. Sure. We just want to bring happiness to these people.
And do you do any kind of fundraisers or ways for the community to support your efforts?
Not yet. We're working on it. No, we are working on it.
So what do you need more of? How can we help you?
We're in the process of being able to accept donations. And once we can do that with the state of Georgia, we're able to partner with different companies and different places that we've reached out to that have shown interest in maybe sponsoring a fundraiser night. And then we can showcase art from our artists. We can showcase pieces that maybe have been created by someone going through rehab that wants to donate their piece back to us and kind of have a nice gallery type event. We have a lot of really cool things on the horizon where we think that it's going to just open up and create lots of opportunities.
Now, what about from the artist standpoint? Is that something you're always looking at artists?
We will always be looking for artists, 100%. So if anyone...
Reach out on our website.
Reach out, yes, or Instagram.
So what if an artist has like just a few pieces? Is that okay? Or do they have to have like a certain number?
They can send us one. Whatever works. But yes, we're always looking for artists or if you'd like us to come to an art class.
Yes.
And so then who's the ideal partner for an art class?
Wow.
I mean, we have something set up where we get our hair cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the venue doesn't have to be super large.
No. So the haircut place, they've shown interest in, hey, we want to have kind of like our post-holiday party at our home. We don't really want to have like a sip and paint or something like that because that's, painting something specific. Not everybody is
wants to do that.
Right.
Would you guys be interested in coming to our house and doing, showing us how to use plaster as texture and creating something abstract? And that's been really cool. And we've been working with the chamber and some other nonprofits that have, shared some insights into maybe having a space to have a classroom to be able to host these. And
it's coming along.
So if somebody wants to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or the team, what is the website? What's the best way to connect?
everydayartgallery.com. And the Instagram handle is Everyday Art Gallery. And is that Facebook too?
Yep, Facebook as well. So and TikTok, we're on TikTok. We are all about creating content right now. This is why this is an incredible opportunity. So thank you for having us to share.
Yes, thank you.
Reach out. We would love to talk and connect and share more about what we're trying to do.
Well, thank you both for sharing your story. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, this is Lee Kantor. We'll see you all next time on Sandy Springs Business Radio.